Reviewing beer on YouTube is a piece of cake. Well, it is today because we're reviewing a piece of cake. It's a session IPA from the brewery Trzech Kumpli. This is one of the Beer52 Poland beers. But how does it rate? Check out the review to find out. Welcome back to Rocker's Beer Review. Today we're going to be reviewing this beer. As I said in the intro, it's called A Piece of Cake. It's a session IPA coming in at 6%. For a session IPA, I don't think that's quite on the high level. It's by the Trzech Kumpli brewery. I think it's about the fourth one we've had from them. So quite a lot of this brewery in the Beer52 box. And as I was saying, it's a session IPA. It is a version of the classic IPA in a light sessionable version, 6%. I wouldn't call that light. The American hop produces the tangerine, grapefruit and berry aromas which blend harmoniously with the resinous even, earthy notes, bold citrusy bitterness, moderate alcohol level and balanced by the light malty backbone, light golden colour, slightly cloudy with a creamy head. So it gives us quite a lot on there. I am a little nervous because we have had a lot of these piney bitterness beers. This one could be similar, but we won't know until we open it up and get it into a glass. So let's see what it's like, shall we? Yeah, I mean, as I said, a lot of piney bitterness. We've had a few that are a bit lighter, but let's see what this one's like. Let's not pass judgment until we've actually shook it. It's quite fairly light. I mean, you can see fairly light in the glass. There's a slight haze on that, but I would almost say that that's almost sort of clear. It's that sort of orangey yellow, golden. I suppose that's golden colour. We've got a one finger fluffy white head. Yeah, it looks like a beer. Let's see if it smells like one. This is quite nice in terms of the aromas. Very juicy and citrusy. Very strong lemons and grapefruit. Yeah, lemons and grapefruit, but it's got a really nice, real fresh fruit aroma. I'm looking forward to it now. That's got the taste buds going. So let's see what it's like, shall we? Cheers, everyone. For 6%, it is very, very light. It is almost like, a real light pale ale in that there's flavours in there, but it just tastes a little bit watery. That you can almost taste that it's been brewed at a certain level and then somehow sort of diluted a little bit because it just has that sort of watery taste. There is a bitterness there, but it's not overpowering. And it's a little bit piney, and it's also very sort of grapefruity as well in that bitterness. And that comes across in terms of the whole sort of citrusy sort of flavours, which I'd put grapefruit in. So it's very, very lemony. Lemony at the front. Then you get this sort of grapefruit bitterness, but it's because it's a session IPA, it doesn't give time for those flavours to linger. So you get that hit of lemons. Like the aroma, you get quite a big hit of the lemons sort of in the aroma and the flavour straight away. But then as soon as within a split second of that, it goes to this sort of grapefruit bitterness. It's not bad. I mean, it's very, very light. Medium to light carbonation, medium to light body. Actually, the more I've got it in my mouth, the more I'm getting it. The bitterness is starting to come through a little bit more, but it's not overpowering, and it's not that overly sort of earthy bitterness that we get with a lot of these beers. I wouldn't sort of say this was very sort of on that West Coast sort of style. It didn't tell us what the hops were. And it doesn't say anything in the magazine about it. It doesn't even have tasting notes. It just says, here's some tasting notes. Yeah, tangerines, grapefruits, and berry aromas. I'm not picking up much in terms of the tangerine, but there's definitely quite a lot of grapefruits in there. Yeah, standard grapefruit, pink grapefruits. It gives a slightness of sweetness, but really it's all about that sort of real citrusy, citrusy bitterness, which is, you know that I don't like bitterness much. I don't like that piney bitterness when it's so overpowering. But I do like a sort of grapefruit bitterness, which comes in on the back end. This one comes in a little bit too quickly for me. I would like to sort of linger more with that sort of nice, fresh, lemon, citrusy berries. I mean, I've seen descriptions where it says it's got that berry sort of taste, but what am I getting? Raspberries? No, not at all. Blackberries, gooseberries maybe, but I don't think I've had a gooseberry for about 40 years. So a gooseberry does give that sort of real zinginess. So probably gooseberry is probably that sort of flavour. But that gooseberry is a real sort of typical of that sort of piney bitterness, the resinous, which you see that described a lot. That resinous earthiness that does have that sort of gooseberry sort of flavour, I suppose. So but I don't like to be at the point where you're sort of picking out fruits for the sake of it. It's along that lines. Lemons, you just think of things that lemons and grapefruits, they're really big. It's quite nice. It's better than a lot of the other ones. Is it really the sort of thing that I like? Well, it's a small bottle of it, and I could quite like drinking it. I think if you started drinking more, that bitterness would start becoming a bit more overpowering. But it's not bad, and I think I've tasted enough. I'm ready for some scores. Okay, the scores are in for the Trzech Kumpli piece of cake. I wouldn't call it as sweet as a piece of cake, but it's not bad. First things first, aroma. Well, I was quite impressed with the aroma, actually. For a session IPA, there was a real big citrusy sort of blast, real sort of big on lemons and grapefruits. And you don't always get that with session IPAs. Usually they're a little bit dialed back. But I thought they were really quite nice, the aromas on this. So I'm giving it 14 for aroma. Then we got appearance. Well, I mean, it's a yellowy sort of, not much of a head. I mean, there's a lot you can see. Again, a lot of lacing of the glass there. It's fairly sort of, it's got a slight murk, but it's more clear than it is hazy, I would say. I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 for appearance. Flavour wise, yes, you get a big hit of lemon when you first taste it. It's it's very light. It tastes a little bit watery even though it's coming in at 6%. I wouldn't call that sessionable 6. I think you've got to be under 5% to be anywhere near sort of a sessionable level. So, and you get that lemon, and then you get a very sort of grapefruity sort of bitterness. And I think as the more you drink it, that bitterness lingers that little bit longer. It's pleasant. It's certainly not. It's not that real sort of horrible bitterness that we have seen with a couple of these Polish beers this month. It is nice and refreshing and citrusy with grapefruits, pink grapefruits, normal grapefruits. I give it a very sort of grapefruit bitterness, I think. It's not bad, not the best, but I'm giving it 31 out of 40 for flavour. Then value, well, it's a 7 out of 10 because it's a Beer52. And then overall experience, I'm giving it a 12 out of 20. It's quite nice, but I think if I drank more of these, I think that bitterness would start becoming a little bit overpowering. So I think I'm going to mark it down a little bit for that. It is not bad. It's certainly not horrible, but I'm thinking 12 for my overall experience. So we top those scores up, we get 71. That's not bad. We've got into the white snake level. We've got over 70, so recommended. It's not the best beer in the box, but it's definitely not the worst one either. So 71. I'm going to slide this one down slow and easy. And until the next review, keep on rocking.